everybody. So glad to be here. Once again, I think this is the 10th year I've participated in the New York City Veggie Pride Parade. So it's really great. And we have a table right over there. Urge you to stop by, pick up our literature. My topic is For the Birds, from Exploitation to Liberation. And we still have a very long way to go as far as achieving the goal of liberation for chickens, turkeys, ducks, and other domesticated fowl, and by extension all animals. But probably by now most of you know that chickens represent the largest number of slaughtered land animals on the planet. 9 out of 10 animals slaughtered for food in the United States are chickens. So we're talking about 9 billion plus birds. I should also tell you, if you're not aware of the fact that we are based in Virginia, in rural Virginia, which is one of the largest chicken producing states and regions of the country, where at any given time over 500 million chickens are locked up in concentration camps. There are huge Tyson and Purdue chicken slaughter plants down where we're located, so we're really right in the heart of the evil empire. But we have our sanctuary and our rescued birds. And they're all very happy to be out and about in the fresh air and to be living as closely as possible to the way they choose to live and to what nature intended. So I'm going to present to you 3 kinds of liberation that chickens, and by extension all animals, need in order to be happy and fulfilled. So when we talk about liberation, we're talking about, and we're also talking about exploitation and how to move from one to the other. So first of all, chickens and turkeys and other birds, by extension all farmed animals, they are treated horribly. Their bodies are mutilated for the poultry industry. They have their beaks burned off. They have all kinds of terrible things done to them genetically, in the case of birds bred for the meat industry, to just develop a big bunch of breast muscle tissue by 6 weeks of age, at which point they're slaughtered. Hens are raised in cages for the egg industry. Turkeys are treated just as badly as the chickens, and their life is horrible. So one thing that liberation means is that we get our hands off their bodies and out of their bodies and out of their genes. And of course, genetic engineering of farmed animals, and especially chickens, is just, sad to say, in its infancy. And things go on behind the scenes that you can hardly even begin to imagine as your worst nightmare. Secondly, we want to liberate birds, chickens, and other animals from the demeaning language to which they're subjected, and the attitudes that they're that they're just stupid or that they're dirty. There's nothing dirty or stupid about chickens, turkeys, and other domesticated fowl. They're very intelligent birds. There's lots of research which is now validating what those of us who have sanctuaries for these birds know from being with them every single day, that they're very intelligent, they're very emotional, they're very sociable, they're very alert, they're very aware of their surroundings and of one another, and they're just very alive and vibrant birds, mentally and physically. The idea that they're dirty and stupid is really an industry way of designating them so that people will not feel sympathy for them, and so that people will feel it's okay to eat chicken or not care about them because they don't have any brains or anything anyway. But again, all of this is 100% false. Nothing could be farther from the truth. So the demeaning stereotypes in our language and in our attitudes, birds, chickens, and other animals need to be liberated from those demeaning and negative stereotypes. Third, most farmed animals are living in horrible confinement facilities that are putrid, that are toxic. I don't know how many of you have ever been in a huge chicken shed with any from 20 to 50,000 birds per shed. down where we are located on the lower eastern shore of Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware, there are over 5,000 of these chicken sheds. They're completely shut out of any sunshine or fresh air. If you go into these houses, you can't even breathe in them. They're so, I can't help it. Huh? Yeah, oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, sorry. I hope you can hear me now. So we want these birds to have homes and habitats that are suited for them as chickens. Chickens, for example, come from the tropical forests of Southeast Asia. Their wild contemporary relatives and ancestors live in the rugged foothills of the Himalayan mountains. And so these birds, they are the natural, free-living bird that they are, is imprisoned in bodies that are alien to them, and then they are forced to live in buildings that, as I say, are completely alien to them, that are toxic and where you can't even breathe without breathing in disease organisms. Their whole lives are just 100% miserable. So, when you hear people say, oh, well, I don't eat beef anymore, but I still eat chicken and turkey. Now, I've been hearing that since the 1980s. And it's just horrible because, first of all, keep in mind that if you eat, the more small animals you eat, such as chickens and fish, for example, the more animals you cause to suffer and die for you. So people need to understand that, the numbers of chickens alone, the 9 out of 10 billion land animals, is because people will eat like 3 chicken breasts in a single meal, whereas they only eat a portion of a larger animal. But of course, we are not in any way suggesting that people should switch from chickens to other animals. We are promoting an animal-free, compassionate diet and a compassionate lifestyle as much as we can possibly manage in our lives. So what we want for these birds is we want them to have a home and habitat on the earth that is suited to their needs. In some cases, it can be in our own homes. In our case, it's in a sanctuary where our birds are out and about all day long, every day, but they are in an aviary situation so that it's also predator-proof. So they have all the trees, they have all the bushes they love to sit in, but it's predator-proof. So they don't have to worry about foxes and other types of predators that would otherwise jump over the fence. These birds need to be treated with dignity and respect in the language we use, and we never want to suggest to people that, that we apologize for caring about a chicken, or that we, apologize for them in any way, because they don't need our apology. They need our respect. They need us to be informed about who they are. And to do that, one thing you can do is go to our website and go to our table and learn who these birds are. I've told many stories over the years about specific birds who have come to our sanctuary, who we have rescued and rehabilitated from the horrible, debilitating conditions from which they've derived. We want people to know who they are when they are free of the way they're framed in such a way that people don't understand them, don't respect them, but we want them to be perceived and treated with dignity and respect, just as we all want to be treated with. And then third, we want to get them out of the clutches of their bodies out of the clutches of human tampering and invasion. We rightly think that rape is a horrible thing when it happens to human beings, but the entire farmed animal industry is all about rape. That's exactly what it is. And animals' reproductive systems are the whole basis of farmed animals, the farmed animal industry, and the things that are done to their bodies and to their ovaries and to everything that is within their bodies is something that can certainly be called rape, because that's what it is. It's an invasion of their bodies against their will, an invasion of their bodies against their will, to do things to them that are of no benefit to them at all, but actually harm them. So I hope that you've been able to hear me speak. I understand that my voice kind of got lost because I keep moving the microphone around. But I do thank you for being here today. I urge you to stick up for chickens, be kind to turkeys, view all of our fellow animals with respect and accord them the dignity that they have a right to expect, just as we ourselves do. And please, whatever you do, don't let people get away with saying, well, I don't eat pigs or cows anymore, but I still eat chickens and turkeys. Explain to them that they're not doing chickens and turkeys or anybody a favor by continuing to eat birds. Birds have just as much feeling. They have the same emotional repertoire. They have the same a social life and interests. They want to be outside in the green world. They want to be outside in the fresh air. They want that just as much as any other animal, including ourselves. So let us please always stick up for these birds and as forcibly as possible, and yet in a friendly way, help to educate people so that they will not want to eat a piece of meat anymore. Help people to understand that they're eating animals. When people ask me, well, don't you eat meat anymore? And I say, well, I don't eat animals. I stopped eating animals like 40 years ago. And I try to, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of times I say, instead of just always saying a vegan diet, I say an animal-free diet. Because I want to put the animal in the picture. I don't want it to just be an abstraction, vegan. I don't want it to only be about food and dining. I want to always help people to understand that when we talk about meat, when we talk about dairy, when we talk about eggs, we're talking about animals. So animal-free also suggests animal liberation. And that's what we want. We want an animal-free diet. And I will say to people when they say, well, don't you eat meat anymore? I say, no, I don't mix animals with my food. You know, food is one thing, animals are another. I don't put animals in food. So they're like, oh, you know, it's a new way of thinking about it. But we want to help people have new ways of thinking about important things. So thank you for your attention, and stop by our table, and don't just switch from beef to chicken. Get the slaughterhouse out of your kitchen. Thank you.